I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social Security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hey everybody, welcome. Ken Reid here, your TV Guidance Counselor with the show TV Guidance Counselor, the podcast that's been going on since February 2014. Each and every week I welcome an interesting guest. We talk about back issues of TV Guide magazine. We talk about life. We use back issues of TV Guide magazine from my personal collection as the gateway to our conversation. And this week my guest is comedian Rob Haze, and Rob has a newish out this year, but very funny stand-up comedy special called Frontin. It is on, could I say that in a more white way? Frontin. It is on YouTube. You can watch it there. It's very funny. I put links in the show description, so make sure you check out that show. As that Rob's just a good dude, very funny, and big TV fan. He has some very interesting insights. So I think you'll enjoy this episode. If there are other people you'd like me to try to get on the show, or anything you want to say to me at all, really, you can do so by emailing me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com. Become a patron if you have as little as $1 a month. Go to patreon.com/tvguidancecounselor, or if you have $5 or more a month, you would have gotten a PDF of the very issue that Rob and I discuss here. So you could follow along or make your own picks or do anything like that. And I very much would appreciate the people who do that and appreciate the people who do that. But also, you don't have to. Why would I say you had to do anything? You don't have to. Anyway, you should listen to this episode if you've gotten this far. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Rob Haze.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Live via satellite from sunny Los Angeles, Rob Haze. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing all right for, being trapped here in Boston, but such is my fate.
You're trapped in Boston?
Yeah, it's where I grew up, and I never thought I'd still live here. But after moving away many times, it's like a donated organ. It just the system rejected it. It went back to factory settings.
I love Boston, but I've never been there when the weather's bad. I've only been there like on the nicest days, and I'm like, this is just like the West Coast. I don't know what the big fuss is about.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you for pluralizing days, implying we have more than one. Yeah, the winter's brutal because you grew up in Atlanta, right?
Mm-hmm,
yeah, so although because of climate change and the fact that the world is ending, we have much less snow, which is kind of good but also terrifying. But yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it's I've been to worse places, but I'm a big LA fan, so I always say it's not that I want to live in LA. I'd really like to die there.
That's my plan as well. I do plan to die out here, but you never know. You never can pick.
So did you start doing stand-up in Atlanta and then move to LA, or did you move to LA and then start?
I started in Atlanta, moved to New York, and then moved to LA from New York. So, yeah.
Did you know Sam J when she was in Atlanta?
I did not know Sam J when she was in Atlanta. I did know her when she was in Boston before she moved to LA, and then SNL brought her to New York.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So have you done stand-up here a bunch?
A little bit. Tawanda Gona brought me out, and then Sam Ike, and then I ended up doing the Hideout a couple of times, a couple weekends or whatever.
That was probably during my self-imposed exile. But Tawanda's down to New York as well now, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Tawanda is, Ryan is, Sam is, yeah. Yep. They got a whole crew. They all leave. Yeah, I did Sam Ike show a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. At the Hideaway, the one in Frontin. The Hideaway used to be a place called Durgan Park, which was one of the 4 oldest restaurants in the country. 3 of them have closed. One of them's still open, but Durgan Park's whole thing was like the old waitresses were just like really unpleasant. Not even like as a theme restaurant, not like Dick's Last Resort. Like that was just like,
Yeah.
it was a natural occurrence. So it was very fun. So the issue you picked here is from 2001, and this is February, where are we here? February 2nd to the 8th, 2001. I assume you picked this, or sorry, 2002. I assume you picked this because we got Bernie Mac on the cover.
Yeah, I picked it because we got Bernie Mac, and then also I picked it because I remember that time. I remember Bernie Mac being famous, knowing who he was, rooting for him to have a show, him being the last of the king of comedies to have a show. And so I remember that time period. I remember Red Man and Method Man Fox show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Was that after they did, was it How High?
Yeah, after How High.
I think it was after that.
Yeah. They had a lot of heat. It was like we every week.
Although I will say, so I've told this story in the show before, but when Original Kings of Comedy came out in the year 2000, I lived across the street from this movie theater, and I didn't have an air conditioner, and lived in Somerville, which is like Boston's Brooklyn, and it was really hot, and a kid that liked my old band worked at the theater, and he gave me literally a case of free movie passes. So I would go and basically sleep in the theater because it was air conditioned, and I saw the Original Kings of Comedy like 300 times.
Wow.
I slept through. I didn't sleep through it the first time, but eventually I did. And I have to say, the Bernie Mac show was, in my opinion, the best, head and shoulders above all the other shows any of the Original Kings Comedy did, and one of the best sitcoms of the 2000s, like hands down, just really good.
Yeah, it's like Larry Wilmore talks about he showed the Bernie Mac show the same time that Ricky Gervais showed The Office, and the reason he worked on the American Office is because basically they both were introducing the world to the mockumentary, outside of Spinal Tap. But like the fact that it could be a vehicle for a half-hour sitcom.
I actually prefer the format of the Bernie Mac show where it was, the only time it was like a mockumentary was the wraparounds when he's talking to the camera and knows he has a show.
Yeah. Because
I don't know if you feel this way, but the cheap sort of cutaway gags for The Office, they wear thin on me real quick, that they can only do because it's a fake mockumentary.
Well, I think that the blocking and the way it was shot was one, and it was beautiful the first few seasons because the action of the scenes were orchestrated to make those cutaways happen kind of naturally. And I think after like 2010, after Cyrus came out, it's just like, oh, we can just get away with zooming in on everybody. And we'll just do that. That's way easier than trying to build the scene so that, when I look over here, I'm in the right spot. Forget that. We're just quick zooms. That's all we need,
Yeah, people get it. People get it. It's crazy to me that mockumentary format, which, basically started with The Office in 2001, is still a format people use for sitcoms. I mean, we're over 20 years later.
Well, I mean, the previous format was used for like 30 years. So, once they figured out the multicam, it's not like they were like, all right, Leave It to Beaver, I Love Lucy, all of them, they were still doing it, old Sheldon.
Now I want to see those shows shot like swapped formats. Like a multicam version of The Office and like a mockumentary Leave It to Beaver.
One that is kind of a hybrid is Andy Griffith.
Yes.
Andy Griffith is like, all right, I think some of this was on a set. I think some of this was on location. When they outside, it really feels like they're outside. It really feels like y'all had cameras and had to deal with the sun and all kind of stuff, even though it's black and white. Like you watch on TV Land, I don't know, TV Land, they were remastering these things. Andy Griffith looks beautiful.
It does. It's shot on film, and it's such a funny, sweet show, like that feels kind of timeless because of that small country town. It doesn't, aside from the black and white, it doesn't feel like super dated in a
right. It's
format
not
kinda
super
way.
referential. You know, what's going on in
Right.
the kooky characters of that town are enough to be entertaining.
The Bernie Mac show was surprising in that, and I think a lot of this was probably Larry Wilmore, but how sweet it was. It's like a sweet, strong family sitcom.
Yeah, it's like, let's get the rawest guy from Def Jam and let's show, you know, that he could have a softer side. And I think, you know, I mean, the first episode of the Cosby Show, Cosby threatens Theo, but after that, he's just kind of a sweet guy. But it's like, Bernie Mac seems like somebody you don't want to see when they're mad. You don't want to make them mad. And also, these kids are really little.
Yeah, and he doesn't water it down though too. Like I do that Cosby joke where as much of a monster as he is, but in that pilot where Theo does the whole like speech to dad, and normally in the Leave It to Beaver thing, he'd be like, "It's okay, son," and there's that pause, and he goes,
"That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard."
It's so it's such a great playing with form, but Bernie Mac, I mean, aside from not swearing, like the content of the stuff he says in the show is not different from the stuff he says on stage.
He's definitely that guy, and he's Uncle Bernie. You know, he's like, you could be different with your niece and nephew than you would with your own children.
And I'll say too, like after 9/11, there was a bunch of comedies that came out in the fall of 2001 that were good, that people were like, fuck this. It's 9/11. We're not watching comedies. And comedies really suffered for like 3 or 4 years till we got back kind of after that. It was all like 24 and that kind of stuff. But the Bernie Mac show is like one exception of a comedy that aired and did well post 9/11.
Yeah, I don't even know if they were thinking about the 9/11 of it all. I think, you know, it was just, I do hate that the Bernie Mac show and My Wife and Kids ended up being pitted against each other, and you kind of had to pick. Yeah. And in the world that I was in at that time, that was like a big conversation of like, what kind of family do you live? Do you live in a Bernie Mac family? Do you live in a My Wife and Kids family? And my parents split up in 2003, and my mom was My Wife and Kids, and my dad was Bernie Mac. And so, you know, I just kind of
get the worst of both worlds.
Fall in the middle. I got to watch reruns, schedule these reruns perfectly.
Did you have siblings?
Yes, I had a sister.
Were you kind of making the choices on what you would watch, or were there different rules at mom's house and dad's house?
First to the remote, got it, but prime time, pretty much we all would watch kind of the same thing. I think, you know, if there was a TV in the kitchen that didn't have access to as many channels, and if if I really had to watch wrestling, I would go to the kitchen. If I really had to watch, you know, Cousin Skeeter or something nobody else wanted to watch, then that's where I would go.
I will say, Cousin Skeeter, the correct place to watch that is alone in a kitchen.
It was a hard pitch. You know, I didn't know Bill Bellamy was the puppet at the time. You know, I'm like, hey, it's a kid that I seen in a TV movie and another kid that I saw on Friday and a puppet. And they're like, yeah, go do that over there.
Enjoy on your own.
And it's like, no, 702 did the theme song. We don't care. Do that over there.
You're not going to win this. Does Bellamy still do stand-up?
Yeah, he's still touring. Anymore. He's still doing stand-up.
Because he was huge. Like when he was hosting on MTV and doing that, like he was like a massive stand-up comedian. He never comes up.
Coined the phrase booty call. He just did Drink Champs, and that was amazing. Nori got him real drunk. He was telling a lot of stories. He tells stories on Facebook sometimes. I think his audience skews older, so he'll go on Facebook and be like, this is the story of, you know, any given Sunday. And then it'll be like, oh man, this is amazing.
I love when people, like entertainers, reach that age in their life where they kind of don't care about pissing anyone off and also are being reflective and feel the need to share it.
Yeah,
like, this is the best.
Well, like we've heard LL's side and we've heard Jamie's side, but Bill Bellamy's side fills in all the cracks because he saw it.
And he didn't have as much of a stake in it. So so he's kind of a neutral, like a little bit of a neutral party. Speaking of wrestling, just kind of scrolling through here, I saw in the grapevine there's a big thing about Joni Lawler, aka China, and this is when she had kind of been kicked out of wrestling and had done Playboy and was appearing on a bunch of sitcoms. Like she was in Third Rock from the Sun. She was in an episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway? And in an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. The Whose Line Is It Anyway is surprising.
Yeah. I wonder how many points China got because they don't matter.
No, but I'm just like, I mean, everything I've seen her in, she's been good, and may she rest in peace. But I'm like, the improv on Whose Line Is It Anyway is a very specific skill set.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see her do.
I mean, I don't think they had her do anything hard. They probably had her with a good crew. You know, she probably had Ryan Stiles there. Probably was a Wayne Brady episode.
Yep.
You know,
she got Proops in there.
Greg Proops in there. So yeah, I don't think she had to hold her own. I think there was probably some games she sat out, but when she came in, she just did her China thing, you know?
Yeah, she did a China style. Exactly what I was saying earlier too. There's an article in here about the best shows on TV that people aren't watching, and the 2001-2002 season. So we're in February 2002. So this is still the 2001 season. A bunch of shows had their first season, and no one was watching them. And the shows that they talk about are 24, which I've never seen, but it was massive. I guess no one watched the first season. Scrubs, again, a really interesting, sweet, fun show that apparently no one was watching, and Undeclared. And it's funny that Undeclared, which I liked and is the follow-up to Freaks and Geeks, but that didn't even make it a season.
Yeah. No, Undeclared didn't find its audience. Like, you look at the guest stars of Undeclared, it's crazy. It's like Will Ferrell, Kevin Hart, like a who's who of who's about to run comedy came through there. And it's Apatow just a little ahead of its time. That's
one of the first shows that, and like Arrested Development, are the shows that I always think of when I think of shows that nobody watched, but then people got on DVD and like made everyone borrow, and they kind of grew way too late. And then there's a fascinating article in here because this is February, so it's Black History Month. And this is a roundtable of African-American actors that are having a discussion. And so this is a crazy group of people. You have Robert Guillaume, you have Kim Fields, you have, what's her name? Marla Gibbs. I can't remember her name, from the Parkers. The mom, I believe.
Oh, Monique?
I think so, yes. Her last name, Inez Jackson. For some reason, it just says people's names.
I mean, this must have been...
Weirdly.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know who Inez Jackson is. That should be Monique.
Yeah. Contessa Vaughn, Malcolm Jamal Warner...
Someone wrote that wrong. That's Monique right there.
Yeah, and it says Monique Inez Jackson.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't think I've ever heard her last name in my life. But it's this fascinating conversation, and it's not even like there's no moderator, and it's only 2-3 pages, but this sort of cross-section of people from 50 years of television kind of just chatting, and it's really good. Like, reading this article, I'm like, I want to see an hour of this. Like, this is a murderer's row of people. Like, Guillaume's a guy that I always wanted to see more interviews with. Like, he seems like a fascinating person.
Right.
And he never talks about himself.
I would love to see what he's like in that room. You know? Like around... like people who look up to him and know who he is, and I'm somebody that watches old Lettermans and old Oprah and Regis and Kathy Lee and stuff, and I have not seen an interview with him, so yeah.
He could be a complete monster and a cantankerous jerk in interviews. I don't know, but he seems like he would be interesting. And Kim Fields
that would be fun.
That
too.
would also be fun. Kim Fields was great. Marla Gibbs is a fascinating person. If you've ever read about her, she kept her day job for the first 2 seasons of The Jeffersons.
I believe that. Not trusting it, being like, you know what?
Yep.
Who's to say this thing ain't lasting 14 years? I'll tell you that right now. This is not going till 1984. It's not, and then I'm not getting a sitcom after that.
No.
On Saturdays on NBC. I gotta work.
I love 227. 227 is the only sitcom I can think of set in DC. I can't think of another one.
The Smart Guy, if that counts.
Smart Guy's in DC, right?
Smart Guy's in DC.
I guess is Murphy Brown in DC? There's like some political ones, but not like a regular family. Yeah,
that sounds. When I walk through DC, I feel like, oh yeah, Murphy Brown could live here for sure.
Seems right. We'll never get that Murphy Brown 227 crossover we all wanted.
Oh no. 227, there's some bad jokes on there. I'll watch it sometimes on Tubi and I'll be like, man, this was not
especially the later seasons. The later seasons get like when Stoney Jackson shows up. Oh boy.
Stoney Jackson and Barry Sobel.
Yep. Gets a little dicey. But man, Hal Williams? Who plays Mary's husband. He's so good on that show. I always say show is just about a reasonable guy that just wants to eat dinner and everyone around him's crazy.
Yeah. Everyone around him is nuts. And he just wants to do regular stuff.
Yeah. I just want to
watch a game.
I just want to eat dinner. And they're all like having it's like, come on.
Yeah.
So then we jump in here. On Saturday night, is there anything that jumps out at you that you would watch?
Okay.
Either now or then.
Saturday night in 2002.
Oh my God. While you're looking, first of all, the original Kings of Comedy is airing that night. But this is insane. So we're in February, so it's around the Super Bowl time. And as I mentioned, 9/11 was earlier this year. The America's Most Wanted that night says, are terrorists targeting the Super Bowl? Tonight, America's Most Wanted teams up with counterterrorism agencies to hunt down conspirators who pose a threat to America's game. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. Saturday prime time. The Sixers playing the Bucks.
Sean Combs is on all that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Apparently, Sean Combs, who performs Diddy on all that night.
The D, the I, the D, the D, the Y. Yeah, I'm probably watching that. I'm probably watching all that.
I had no idea he was on all that.
Oh, the musical guests have nothing to do with children. It's just a who's who. Early, all that, it's just a who's who of R&B and hip hop. It's like the Locks performing If You Think I'm Jiggy.
SWV.
Nas did Street Dreams on there. Let's see. TLC performed on the first episode. It was Drew Hill. Yeah, it was very... The cutaways to the audience are hilarious because it's just a bunch of little white kids
in Florida.
And then just, whatever entertainer.
Oh, you may find this funny. I was talking to a kid that was on the new Mickey Mouse Club in the early 90s. The one with like everyone who's famous now, that like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and all them run. And so they spun off 4 of those kids into a band called the Party. And it's funny because it's the 4 kids who never became famous. Everyone else on that show did but them. But this kid was telling me that Disney, and they were shooting down in Florida, was like, hey, we need to get you guys a new record. What are you guys listening to? Who would you want to produce? And they were like, oh, we love Dr. Dre. And so the next day, Disney flew in Suge Knight and Dr. Dre, left them in this studio with these teenagers for 2 days.
Get out of here.
93. And he's like, no supervision. They didn't record anything.
Dang.
I'm like, that's a movie. I would watch a movie based on that weekend.
Right. Just what you like the contact you get from Dr. Dre in 1993 is probably enough to make Disney very fun place to be.
Suge Knight in charge of 4 musketeers for a weekend. Jeez. So all that, and then anything else pop out? I'm curious to see how exploitative the America's Most Wanted about the Super Bowl terrorism is.
I think it's a lot of after the break, after this commercial break, so they bombarding you with other crimes you're not worried about. You're not writing down the names. You're not trying to solve these crimes or whatever, because you're just like, man, I'm really trying to see what's going on with the Super Bowl.
I need to know if the Super Bowl is going to blow up. QVC's advertising that night from 9 to 10 p.m. An hour of Tybo with Billy Blanks.
Okay, you might see something there. I might catch that. Waiting on something else to watch. I'm not gonna watch Touched by an Angel. I'll tell you that now.
No, that's for people who are physically unable to turn their television off.
Yeah. I didn't know Larry King worked on the weekends. It's probably a rerun. I wonder whose E! True Hollywood Story this is.
Oh, what time is it on? Let me see.
It's on at 8 and 9. And then at 10, it's Wild On the Big Island.
Oh, Wild On. Was that the Tara Reid one? No, that was Paradise.
No, Wild On was when like they would go on location, like Brooke Burke would go different places and like interview people and stuff.
Let's see. It doesn't say who the True Hollywood Stories are that are airing, but I would watch any of those.
Yeah, I'm gonna check those out.
Passing up My Girl too, but I understand.
They made a My Girl too?
Yeah, I don't know how. I've never seen it, but of all the movies that probably should not warrant a sequel, that's one of them.
It's only bees in a sequel?
It's just the bees story. It's like Rashomon. It's a replaying of the first film from the bees' perspective.
Ooh, minding our own business. Some kid with glasses comes, start messing around.
We're making honey. We're trying to live our lives. This monster comes in. Just defending ourselves. Oh, poor bees. There's a really ugly doll for sale in here on Sunday. So Sunday is the Super Bowl night. This is one of the few Super Bowls I actually watched.
Oh, this the Patriots' first Super Bowl?
This is the one where
from New Orleans.
Drew Bledsoe gets injured and Tom Brady comes in for the first time, and then the Patriots won.
He got hurt on Monday Night Football, I believe. But Tom Brady's in the mix. Adam Vinatieri kicks a field goal. Yeah, the patriotic Super Bowl where U2 is performing in front of the American flag.
Yeah, it was scripted. It was too perfect.
Yeah. Well, I didn't understand why it wasn't Patriots Eagles. I felt like that would have been super America, but I guess we needed Donovan McNabb to lose all those NFC championships, and that can't happen if he wins his first one.
No.
We don't get Andy Reid now if we don't have Andy Reid then.
The Super Bowl counter programming always fascinates me, and CBS counter programming to the Super Bowl has a Fear Factor special with all Playboy Playmate contestants.
Okay, all right, they're going for it. They're going for it.
They're like, if this doesn't do it, we got nothing.
Plus, we know when we rerun this, nobody saw it. So
that's true.
We can repackage this as new, run these promos again, and
I can't believe that show was as popular as it was, and is legitimately probably 99% of the reason we have Joe Rogan now.
Right. He doesn't have the cachet he does buy a UFC ring if he doesn't have Fear Factor. News radio doesn't get you that.
No. Oh, God,
that is Fear Factor juice. That is literal. Bull testicle juice, that got him in the game.
I feel like every day on his show, he should have to thank bull testicles and grub worms for getting him where he got today. So it's Super Bowl all night, but are you going to watch that or are you going to counter program?
I mean, I'm at a Super Bowl party that night in real life. I could tell you exactly where I was at. I was at a friend's house at a Super Bowl party. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm watching. I'm not. We're on the way home during this Malcolm in the Middle, so I probably missed that when the rest of America got acquainted with Frankie Muniz, our EM.
I never really saw much of Malcolm in the Middle. What I saw was fine, but this episode has a list of guest stars on this Malcolm in the Middle post Super Bowl show, and it's Terry Bradshaw, Tom Green, Magic Johnson, Heidi Klum, Howie Long, Christina Ricci, Susan Sarandon, Ricky Martin, and Bradley Whitford.
I don't think that they knew they were going after the Super Bowl with that lineup.
No.
There's no way. There's no way they knew. They got Terry Bradshaw on there. Yeah, it's probably a Super Bowl episode.
In 2002, was Magic Johnson like a coup of a guest star still?
I mean, this is after the Magic Hour. So
oh, yes.
He's no longer a talk show host, but he's still a super famous guy. He's on the 10th anniversary of the announcement. I don't think a lot of people thought he was going to make it 10 years.
Oh, that's true.
So
it is 10 years.
Doing the rounds around 2001, 2002. Magic Johnson's probably, got some heat on him.
Around this time, I lived in Somerville, and there was a big warehouse that was like a band practice space, like a 4-story. It was basically a self-storage space, but bands would rent out the cubes and practice in them. Mm-hmm. And this very year, around this time, Magic Johnson personally purchased that building.
Oh, wow.
Tore it down and built condos. And he was like literally there. Like it wasn't like he was part of some investment thing. He was like walking around being like, okay, yep. All right, we'll tear that down. And people were like, Magic Johnson's walking around the music space. It's like, yeah, all right.
That's how you get the people excited. You might run into Magic Johnson tomorrow. You're like, I'm going to get to work on time. I'm going to be on point.
The boss is here.
I don't want to get chewed out in front of Magic Johnson. That's whack.
Monday, what'd you do?
Let's see. Monday, what I'm probably going to do. Has somebody won $1 million yet? Because Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is on.
I don't think they had yet.
Yeah, that I feel like that might be the move. I wonder who this A&E biography is.
The classy E! True Hollywood Story.
Right. The one, you could bring that up anywhere. E! True Hollywood Story had a gun in the title and stuff, and you're like, oh, eventually it's gonna get crazy.
A&E was getting a little down in the gutter on this one because it's Bob Crane.
Bob Crane? Who's Bob Crane?
Bob Crane is who the movie, he was on Hogan's Heroes, but he was like a porno pervert guy. And he had all this video equipment and would make porno movies, and his buddy murdered somebody and they filmed it. They made a movie out of it. Autofocus was the movie. And Greg Kinnear played Bob Crane. And so this was around that time. He was a big TV star, but he was also like this weird pervert and went for murder.
He Hogan? He the main dude?
Yep.
Oh, dang, that's crazy. Okay. I might have watched that because I'm just finding out about this right now. So I would have been astonished.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, this is a pretty good one too. And A&E would have done a classier, like a slightly more thorough job than he.
Yeah. Samurai Jack is on Cartoon Network at 9.
Samurai Jack's awesome.
That's kind of dope.
One of the most entertaining Steven Seagal movies ever, Hard to Kill, is on.
Okay.
He plays a character.
Hard to Kill.
He plays a character named Mason Storm.
Let's see. We got Hannity and Combs over here after the O'Reilly Factor. For right after the Super Bowl, you want to know how they feel about Bono's performance. We got WWF Raw. Take that, World Wildlife Fund.
I'm glad they won that World Wildlife Fund. Yeah. I would not have put my money on them winning, and it was a real upset.
I would think they were gonna have to change. They'd be the World Wildlife, add another.
It's like the only lawsuit that the WWE ever lost.
Yeah. People have died in the WWE, and it's been like, that's all right,
The Panda Bear people?
The Panda Bear
they
people.
won?
And you know what's so funny? My grandmother had a World Wildlife. She was into animals and stuff. She had a calendar, and it said WWF.org. And I was like, oh, that's crazy that they got that. And WWF.com is where I would be,
Yeah.
And then, them lawyers saw the same thing.
And their argument was people confuse them,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, true.
Because they have cage matches in the WWE, and they have cages, highly frowned upon with the World Wildlife Fund.
They're like, wow, this wrestler's gimmick is weird. He's dressed like a giraffe. There's also the movie Cherry Falls is on, and this was a TV premiere of this movie. I really like this movie. It's Britney Murphy's in it, and Michael Biehn and Jay Moore. And it was supposed to be a theatrical movie, but it got dumped on cable. And it's a slasher movie, but the gimmick is the slasher kills virgins. Unlike in all the other sex equals death movies. And it was kind of a fun twist on that circa
Fire
2000.
date movie.
Exactly.
Fire date movie.
Yes. Perfect movie. We don't want to get murdered.
Hey, you see that? That was crazy, right?
It's in the movie.
It's in the movie.
Also that night on Monday and this whole week, Chris Rock is hosting a thing on Comedy Central every night at 10 called The Heroes of Black Comedy.
I definitely watched that at the time.
5-part series.
Yeah. Monday is like maybe Dick Gregory or something.
No, it's not even going in order. It's a weird. It's the Monday one's the original Kings of Comedy. Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only Monday, so it's not even a week. Jeez. The next week is Whoopi Goldberg. Then something they're calling hip hop comedy, which I imagine is just Def Comedy Jam. And then March 4th is Richard Pryor. I feel like they could have filled a lot more episodes than that.
Right. I think around that time, Comedy Central did their list of the 100 greatest comedians.
Oh, they did.
And so, yeah, I do remember watching that, and that was appointment watching for me. But, not the original airing. The next day when they replayed it, when I could have the remote.
Yes. Was that the kind of thing where you were watching a ton of stand-up and the rest of the film was like, come on, Rob?
No, I think it was, we would watch Premium Blend. Also, when I would be watching stand-up, other people would just be doing other stuff. My mom would be on the phone, or she'd be out, and my dad would be out. My sister would be, watching something or playing a video game or something, and I would just be the only one watching Comic View and Premium Blend and different presents, different specials. So
I think the best Comedy Central stand-up show was Pulp Comics. I stand by that.
Pulp Comics?
That's my bold statement.
Better
Pulp
than
Comics.
the Benson interruption?
I think it was better than Benson Interruption. And Premium Blend I always had problems with because the house band, because when I was a teenager I was in punk bands, and the house band, the US Bombs, was this band we used to play with all the time. So it was completely ridiculous because their lead singer was one of the first dudes who invented skateboarding in the early 70s.
Oh, wow.
And he was completely fried. And anytime we'd play with them, he felt really old at the time. He was probably 30. But he was always like, you guys got anything to sniff like glue? We were like, no, man, we don't get anything. He's like, oh, damn. And he's got a Comedy Central's credit.
I used to play with the band that did the presents. So that was me.
That was really good.
Don't know that. Yeah.
The trumpet of a human being. It was a good. It's good stuff. Well, you didn't want the credit. You were humble, and you're like,
I didn't want the credit.
credit.
I had elementary school to go to, so
it was worth it. Tuesday, anything jumping out?
Let's see. Let's look at the prime time Tuesday. Should I be looking at the descriptions, or should I be? I've been looking at the lines.
Grid. Whatever works for you. But I want to mention on page 71 of the PDF, there's an ad in here for a Hummel cuckoo clock they're selling, Bavarian Hummel cuckoo clock. And if you look at the close up of the kids here, I don't know if you're seeing it. Are you seeing what I'm seeing here?
Wait. Where, is it after the grid? After the Tuesday grid?
It's on page 72 of the PDF.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
why
right?
They selling that? Okay. But you got to put your address in, and you got to sign it.
But it looks like what I think that looks like, right?
Yeah, it's like some kids, and what are they looking at?
They seem to be Sieg Halling.
This is crazy.
And this thing only cost $297, by the way.
Nah, in 2001, 2002, that's a crazy amount. That's big
like a
ass
house.
Yeah.
But it's a Bavarian cuckoo clock with these two little Aryan kids with like doing Hitler salutes.
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't think it's intended to be that, but there's nothing else it looks like.
I mean, they got pine cones dangling though. You could look aside from the.
You can overlook that.
Yeah, and that's only every hour on the hour. They go back in hiding during most of the time. 59
minutes every hour. They're not doing that.
You gotta look on the bright side.
Oh man, we got a full hour of That 70s Show on Tuesday night.
Yeah, what's that about? That 70s Show in 24. They got Smallville. Somebody said. Let's see.
Wow, Luke Wilson is the guest star on That 70s Show. Remember when Luke Wilson was a bigger star than Owen Wilson?
Oh yeah, Luke Wilson was the man.
Then he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I'm probably. What is Battlefield?
I believe that's Battlefield Earth.
Okay.
The absolutely horrific Scientology movie produced by and starring
John Travolta. 99. Yeah. Okay, so it's time for Battlefield Earth to be on TV. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I might rock with a Jag. I might rock with a Will and Grace, depending on how I feel. And then get into the Smallville.
I liked Smallville. I feel like Smallville, because it was before the sort of mainstream comic book superhero resurgence stuff.
Right.
So
we
people
felt like we were contributing to comics being a thing.
Yeah.
Like they need us. They used to make it like, if y'all don't go see Spider-Man, y'all not going to have anything. If y'all don't go out and see X-Men, we going to die. Like Stan Lee is going to be on the streets. Y'all better go out and see Daredevil. Okay. I don't care what you heard about it. You need to go out there. If you don't see Catwoman, they going to take comics out of Publix.
This guy's going to be selling his mustache.
Yeah.
It was a real desperate time. And Smallville wasn't bad. Like, there's some, especially later season, there's some cool stuff in there. They get, like, Martian Manhunter and Dr. Fate shows up. Like, it's crazy.
My issue with Smallville is he never became Superman.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, we've been in here a long time. There's no way y'all planned all these seasons. The man work at the Daily Planet. Let him be Superman. Let him be. Y'all sold me on he was going to be Superman. He already too grown from day one. Because it's like, I would have started him way younger and then had him go through puberty and stuff. Nah, y'all didn't do that. Y'all already had full chest.
You
got the
bet.
Superman chest in 01. Give me Superman at some point.
Yeah, it's because I think they were trying to not learn. They learned a lesson from Lois and Clark. One was that Dean Cain shouldn't be on TV, but the second one was
somebody should have told Ripley.
Oh God!
Believe it or not, Dean Cain was back.
He personally told me he doesn't believe that CTE is a thing because he played football in college. That's his evidence.
Okay. He can't go off of his life. He dated Brooke Shields in college.
Yep.
His life is totally different than the rest of us.
Yeah.
That's crazy to use yourself as an example when you was literally Superman.
I don't think drug addiction's a thing. I've never done it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Dean Cain should never use himself. Like he's not going to disappoint me like Kevin Sorbo did.
No.
That hurt my heart.
Kevin Sorbo, at least he had a stroke and a brain aneurysm, so we could at least use that as an excuse.
Your man out here racist, and I'm like, the Nutty Professor would have been totally different had we known that you was racist.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy could have referenced anybody. He could have said Xena. He could have said something else, but he said Hercules because we thought you was down.
And now that guy. I've gotten in many a Twitter argument with him.
Yeah, you
yeah.
war to war with Hercules and,
yeah.
and Andromeda.
Yep, he eventually blocked me. He blocked me the same day that that Chuck Woolery blocked me after he told me to stick my head up his ass.
Dang, that's crazy. You got into it with Chuck Woolery.
Oh yeah, got heated with Woolery.
Man,
super
crazy.
racist. Super racist.
Get out of here.
Chuck Woolery is insanely.
Chuck Woolery with the Rolex.
He's super mega. He's ridiculously racist. Yeah.
I didn't even know he was around for the mega year. He's still around?
Yeah. Oh, he's around. Yeah.
How old is Chuck?
He's got to be in his late 70s, I'm thinking.
Dang.
Yeah. And I can't watch Love Connection anymore. I'm the real victim here.
Come on. Oh, they got a close-up of these kids in the... Oh, I didn't even see the close-up.
Oh, the kids in the
yeah.
in the clock?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
One of them has a beer stein and they're wearing like German outfits.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. They call it a Bavarian Cuckoo Clock, but we all know what it is.
Is this Frasier new?
Yes, it's when Niles and Daphne get together. Because it's also Valentine's week.
That's why I didn't really rock with TV Guide, because they would tell you too much. Like now,
you don't want the spoilers.
You kind of spoiling the episode a little bit. I don't want to know that you got the inside track on it.
It's too much information. They're too close to the source. Wednesday, anything?
Let's see. Let me look at Wednesday. I'm gonna go through the little ad part first.
So this is Fox is really putting it all out there. They got that 80s show, which was that 70s show spinoff, which I actually kind of liked. Margaret Smith was on it. I don't know if you remember her as a stand-up. She was like this really dry, sarcastic stand-up that was on Comedy Central all the time. Was really funny, and this was the only sitcom she did. Grounded for Life, which I liked because I like Donal Logue. Mm-hmm. Bernie Mac with Marcus Allen in that episode.
Oh, that's a classic right there.
And then Titus, which was a pretty good show as well. Although this episode, Frankie Muniz is guest starring for some strange reason.
He having a great week. Followed up the Super Bowl.
It's Frankie Muniz's world
Titus.
this week. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely going with the Bernie Mac at 9. Yeah, I'm gonna probably hit him with the My Wife and Kids at 8. And then I don't know, that 80s show, I remember them advertising it, and that's when I was like, all right, that 70s show is going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look, Ripley's Believe It or Not is on TBS if you want to see Dean Cain.
He'll read a cue card about a guy in a tightrope.
Right. Dean Cain's on each episode less than 5 minutes for sure.
Yeah, they really more used what's her name? That girl was on California Dreams and Baywatch. Kelly Packer. Yeah. She was the real MVP there. She did all the heavy lifting, and Dean Cain got the credit.
For sure. So yeah, I'm going My Wife and Kids. I guess it's 2 episodes. You know, it was a mid-season replacement. Yep. They they knocking them out. So yeah, I don't know. The 02. This might be the first season still. Or?
I think it is because it was mid-season 2002. I think it had just started.
Yeah. So those are definitely classics. I definitely watched those and definitely watched Bernie Mac at the time. I feel like I did watch Titus too. I feel like what I would pick today is what I watched at the time.
I need to revisit Titus because Stacy Keach plays his dad, and I love Stacy Keach. He's just like always entertaining.
I couldn't tell you anything about Titus other than it was a multicam, and sometimes he would just walk away and talk to the audience.
Yep. Yeah, very Gary Shandling show. I don't think I've ever seen Chris Titus's stand-up in my life.
I haven't, but I've heard quotes. I've heard people quote him at comedy clubs of like, in order to make it, you got to be undeniable. I know that's like from him, and
it's good advice.
Yeah, right. It's something definitely to strive for.
On Thursday, there's the Ripley's Believe It or Not ripoff show, Would You Believe It?
Okay.
This one says, segments include the skeleton of the Elephant Man and a castle made of coral.
That's the type of thing at school they gonna argue about which is better, Ripley's Believe It or Not, or Would You Believe It?
Yeah.
And it's always a kid that's like hardcore, like, Would You Believe It? It's way better. I can't believe y'all still watching Ripley's Believe It or Not.
It doesn't have that brand name. They got to try twice as hard. And then Will and Grace, which I've also never seen, but people enjoy. Matt Damon is in this episode.
Okay. But this ain't Bourne. This ain't Jason Bourne. This is like Mr. Ripley.
Is it still Ripley? Yeah, this is like what Dogma Matt Damon.
Yeah. I don't even Ocean's 11 hasn't popped off yet. So it's Matt Damon that like might need this, you know, to get what he wants to get, to show another side of him type of thing. So that might be the move.
Oh man, there's an ad for Dawson's Creek in here, and this is when Ken what's his name from the state? Ken Marino is on the show.
Okay.
And he sort of dates Katie Holmes. And so the ad is like the two of them with like this weird smirk on their face, and all it says is student-teacher relations. Dawson's Creek.
I see a OG Family Guy.
Yep.
So before they got canceled.
And then uncanceled.
Yeah. So, you know, like canceled, like a show canceled, not like a society cancellation, but like Fox canceled them. CSI Crime Scene Investigation. Thanks for the clarification. Just in case it's another CSI out here. I wonder who the biography is on tonight.
On Thursday?
Yeah.
Is it on at 8?
Yeah, it's on at 8.
Let's see. We got... Where am I here? Wayne Gretzky, the great one.
Oh, the great one? Okay, I might skip that. I don't know. I might.
At the same time, Comedy Central presents friend of the show, former guest of the show, Tom Rhodes.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh,
there's
on
a
history.
show on BET called Oh Drama.
Oh Drama?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
Now I want to see that.
Right.
Because for a second, History Channel has Body Slam, the history of professional wrestling. But I think I'm going to check out O Drama instead.
I definitely saw Body Slam. Also, SmackDown's on tonight. The Rock probably going to go on at like 9:45. So, you know, I'm going to click over to SmackDown, see The Rock's match, miss everything else that's going on over there.
There's a show that was very short-lived on Fox called Dark Angel with Jessica Alba. And that's on at 9 on Friday. And I liked that show a lot. It was like a weird post-apocalyptic show. And everyone absolutely hated it.
I remember the ads for Dark Angel. I feel like I was always playing sports, so I would have the longest practice would always be that Friday night practice. We'd always miss what was going on and get home, you know, just after prime time.
And it was so on the bubble. You doing that is the reason it got canceled.
There's so many shows I could have saved. I could have saved Dark Angel, yep. Alias, Fast Lane. You know, it's a lot of shows at that time that I really
needed you on the team
and put my all to. Winter Olympics opening ceremony.
Yes.
Okay. 02 Winter Olympics was that Nagano?
I think so. Yeah. Would you have watched that?
I'm probably watching that. I'm probably watching that when I get home. Probably watching the Winter Olympics opening ceremony. Wondering if it's live. Asking a bunch of times if it's live.
This was just funny to me because again, it is Black History Month at February here, and on PBS on Friday night there's a show titled African Americans in Connecticut.
What?
And it's probably interesting because this is a look at historical contributions of blacks, including profiles of former slaves and abolitionists who were born in Torrington, Connecticut. But just a show called African Americans in Connecticut sounds like a UPN high concept sitcom.
Right.
Looks like a new version of the Jeffersons.
Yeah, we moving way up. We moving way up to Hartford.
We're in Martha Stewart land now.
Let's see. TBS got Mortal Kombat and Spawn back to back. So, hitting the back button on the remote and catching some action over there when they start talking, I'm going to leave again.
I still can't believe Michael J. White starred in Spawn and then didn't get... I mean, that movie's kind of a flop, but he got nothing after that.
Yeah, he was in a Nicki Minaj video after that. And
he makes his own movies and they're very entertaining, but like mainstream, like he's a good actor and he's charming, but he
was huge. He played Mike Tyson on HBO.
Yeah, and then nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a pretty good week, actually. I have a list of things to watch.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff to watch. Got to catch up on O-Drama.
Yeah, I mean, O-Drama, there's always time for O-Drama.
Yeah.
O-Drama sounds like something someone would dismissively call like some Irish TV show. I was watching O-Drama again.
Apostrophe drama.
Yeah. So to wrap up here, TV Guide is not just informative, it has opinions in it. Cheers and it jeers. And I always like to read the cheers and jeers of this week, see if you agree or disagree. They're never signed, so they're always like super bitchy, which is always very fun.
Wait, can we go back?
Oh, yeah.
Do you see the advertisement for the Winter Olympics opening ceremony?
Yes.
They used a picture of Muhammad Ali from 1996. So they went back to Olympics and they went to the Summer Olympics. Because that was in America. Nothing's gonna be like that. That's deceptive.
No.
That's crazy. And then it says, in 96, Ali lit the torch for America as the world comes together. Who will light the flame tonight? Like so now they're acting like this is American Idol. They're acting like this is a reality show.
Where do you see the list of people who it could
President
be?
George W. Bush opens the games. Sting, R. Kelly, the Dixie Chicks, because, they haven't became the Chicks yet.
Yep.
Leanne Rimes with Bob Costas, Katie Couric, Jim McKay. Y'all really listed y'all news people like they part of the celebrities.
Like we care. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, who's gonna light the torch? Is it gonna be?
Oh, this is in Salt Lake. Nagano was 98.
You're right.
This is in Salt Lake. Okay. Oh, this is like what's his name? Bodie Miller.
Yep.
They was hyping him up and then he didn't win.
This was the year that everyone got really excited about. Is it Skeleton?
Okay.
Is that what that thing's called? Where it's like the luge, but it's like extreme sledding.
Mm-hmm.
Because 96 was when people were still talking about Cool Runnings.
Yeah. I think 98 had because they split in and then they did 92 winter, 94 they did another one, and then they started on the alternating track.
Well, you were living in Atlanta though when they had them there, right? And there was the bomb and all that.
It was incredible. It was insane. My dad got us tickets to watch the marathon.
Oh wow!
What the marathon is everyone runs out of where you are, and then you just wait on them to come back, and you watch on the jumbotron other people who pay nothing see the same race
or more of it.
Yeah, or more of it. And also, you're paying for concessions the whole time.
That is truly American, though.
Yeah. But I can't say I went to an Olympic event, and a lot of people can't say that.
Yeah. Did you get any merch? Did you get a shirt or anything?
When my father passed, I got his volunteer shirt.
Oh, he volunteered? Oh, wow.
Yeah. He and a lot of his buddies volunteered. And so a lot of people in Atlanta have this shirt, and it's got like a green collar and these big blue Olympic rings. It's a fire shirt. And I actually wore the shirt when I worked on Kevin Hart's Winter Olympic Tailgate on Peacock, which I think is still available. And so, I was able to honor my father in that way.
Oh, that's so cool.
And also, rep the Olympics. Yeah.
So then to wrap up, there's the Cheers and Jeers, but there's also a short-lived segment here called Worth Repeating, and it's like their favorite quotes of the week.
Okay.
So a couple of these I'm going to read, see if you can guess who said them. So the first one here says, "I'm like that Raymond. Everybody loves me."
I'm going to guess Chris Rock.
D.L. Hughley.
Okay.
He said that on the Hughleys. Then this one is weird. Quit booing. U2's gonna get Grammys. That's NSYNC's Justin Timberlake when his group beat U2 at the American Music Awards.
That's great.
Let's see. Oh, here's one. Here's one of a person we talked about earlier in this episode. It says, "Which one of your 5 marriages would you consider the most sacred?"
Liz Taylor.
Christopher Titus.
Okay.
So some odd, these are almost like just random. Normally these are like all monologue joke quotes, but like there's a Leno one and a Letterman one. But then the rest are not. Okay. So let's start off with a cheer. Cheers to meeting a challenge. The 3rd season of CBS's Survivor, set in Africa, sometimes seemed to be daring viewers to stay awake. So we were happily surprised by the show's January 10th finale, when 57-year-old Kim, who won not a single competition the entire pre-finale season, came out of nowhere to win the last episode's 2 immunity challenges. She set in motion a welcome amount of paranoia and worry action, and following the footsteps of the 2nd season's Colby and a brilliant. It's just all. Do people care about Survivor anymore?
I don't know. That cheer felt real backhanded. Like this cheer felt like a jeer.
Because they're like, thank God something happened.
Mm-hmm.
Jeers to critical mistakes. We were glad to see the best of Seinfeld's B-list actors, the Big Four didn't show, on January 13th celebrity edition of NBC's Weakest Link, but were disappointed with the strong performance of Brenda Strong, who played Elaine's hated nemesis, braless wonder Sue Ellen Mischke on the series. Well, at least we were disappointed with one answer she gave. Asked the name of critic Matt Roush's publication, she gave a wrong answer that was decidedly not TV Guide. We like Elaine even more now. That's just cruel.
That's hilarious. Who at the Weakest Link decided to have Seinfeld night without any of the main... Because they're busy.
Yeah, they're
busy.
Not even Wayne Knight. We're like the braless lady. That's who we have.
Yeah, it's early Curb. Michael Richards got his own show. He's probably signing up at the Laugh Factory.
Show up and go up.
It's like, 4 years from now, I'm gonna have a spot on a Friday. Just you guys wait.
Like those people were appearing on the Weakest Link because they needed to win, not because they were celebrities.
Right. Like they were sad when they had to say the charity that they were playing for. Like
that is really pushing the definition of celebrity edition.
Right.
Oof. Jeers to dubious TV concepts. TNN's new The Conspiracy Zone with Kevin Nealon is sort of a politically incorrect for the overly suspicious, not to say dim-witted. Oh, we could say that, but we won't. Nealon, the former Weekend Update actor of Saturday Night Live, moderates panels debating the veracity of various conspiracy theories, soliciting insights from crackpot authors, offbeat journalists, and minor celebrities. There must be a conspiracy behind Adam Carolla's television ubiquity. Lumping JFK assassination theories in with time travel cover-ups and Big Brother paranoia, Conspiracy Zone fails to convince us that the show is even worth a laugh. Time travel? Well, that would explain why Nealon is still making jokes about sushi.
When was the sushi era of comedy?
I guess the 80s?
Was that a thing in the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
Just go on stage and be like, sushi, am I right?
Yeah. They're serving that on a plate? They don't even cook it.
Why they gotta separate him from SNL? Like, at that time, SNL is popping.
Yeah.
And to just be like SNL Weekend Update actor, like he was acting like he was on Weekend Update. He
wasn't really on it.
He in between Dennis Miller and Norm, He's just acting out there. Like, come on, man. He had a whole rotation around his head. Y'all
he was
remember
somebody's
that?
favorite anchor. Yeah, they just roasted him.
Yeah.
He's got completely oof. Cheers, finally, to finishing the story. The first installment of Nightline's 5-part report on the war in Congo aired nearly 5 months ago on September 7th. The next week's events immediately bumped the remaining episodes until the week of January 21st, 2002. A definite case of better late, much better than never. So they were complaining that the second part of this thing about war in Congo didn't air because of 9/11. But we finally got it last month, so that's good.
Yeah. Bad news out there. The American people at this time, they are not worried about Africa
No.
at all. It's more people are gonna be worried about that survivor in Africa than that war in Congo, and it's very sad.
Can you imagine that guy who tunes in September 11th to watch part 2, and he's like, what the hell's this? Come on. I wanted to see terrible things in Congo.
They're gonna talk to Ja Rule. I gotta watch this Congo coverage.
I need to know how this ends. Yeah, and then they have a little sub cheer where they say the guilty pleasure this week is Blind Date, and they're talking about how great Blind Date was.
Okay,
Roger Lodge.
All right.
I enjoyed that show. It was always
I like Blind Date. I
sleazy.
like the Limit Fifth Wheel,
Studs.
Yeah. If you up late enough, there's only certain things you could watch at that time.
Yeah, that would have been a fun show to write for. You got to write those
Blind
little,
Date?
Yeah, because they write the little like pop
and
up
the
and
little
the fake bubbles and all that.
stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and all the footage they don't show. Like you probably get to see that. Like that probably would have been a good gig.
Yeah. No, that would have been a blast.
Well, let's call Kevin Nealon, see if he can help us out with some time travel. We'll go back and get gigs on the staff of Blind Date.
Heck yeah.
We'll
down.
write some sushi jokes. Well, thank you for doing this. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been a blast. I never thought to look at old TV guides. I used to do microfilm for newspapers, and so I used to that was my job for a little while, and looking at old ads and stuff is always interesting to me. So yeah, this was extremely cool. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
And people, please watch and listen to Frontin, the album. If you are on your digital streaming platforms, if you want to watch it, if you're one of those weird people that like watching stuff, it's on YouTube, which is a website they made, so people from war can connect with people back home. Chocolate Rain, cat videos. Check it out. It's not TV, but
I'll put links in here. People can check. It's the new TV. It's like a Blind Date with content.
Yeah, for sure.
That's Rob. Make sure you watch Frontin. There is a link in the show description here. It is on YouTube. It's very, very funny. Make sure you're here next week because I'll have a brand new episode. So I hope to see you then for that brand new episode of TV Guidance Counselor.
They made a My Girl too?